Hello. It is the Comrades' biggest night of the year. You could say it's gaming's biggest night of the year, the Comrade Game Awards. Folks, it has been a incredible and also tragic year for gaming. I want to, take some time to shout out all the people who made it possible in my
Start the music,
life
start
and
the
your
music.
life.
We got to get
It's
him
like, oh
off the
wait,
stage.
it's like,
We
oh
gotta
wait, what
keep-
is that? I'm being told I must wrap it up. Yeah, but for real, we're doing our
There's
version
a
of. There's a giant sign
flashing sign.
at me. Get the fuck off!
He's getting the
There's a
light,
man
guys.
with a
He's getting the
comically
light.
sized hook.
Yeah,
walking
about to
in from
grab
the
me by
side.
the neck. We
It's
are
Kojima. He's gonna bring you to the soul sucking machine because you've gone long.
man. If of any punishment though, that would be the best to receive. Because
Give
then
it
I
to me,
would
Daddy.
because then I would live for eternity. But we're doing the game awards that the people, not just what the people want, but what the people need.
They yearn.
We have some returning categories from our episode last year, but also including a bunch of new and fun categories that I hope you will all enjoy. From our experience last year, this could be a long one. There's a chance there's always a chance it goes really, really fast because we all have clear consensus on what was the most borked game of the year. And
What you don't know is while I'm editing, I'm just going to be ramping the music up and then toning us out and cutting us off, moving us to the next.
Right. So we got to keep it on a fast clip here because we've got 13 categories in total, which I think is like 3 more than last year. So the bloat is coming up. The creep is the power.
Yeah, we're doing a little bit of scope creep here.
Yeah. But I think these categories are all good and are encompassing of some general gaming lore, but also just where the current state of the industry is at right now. So without further ado, let's jump into what I believe is our standout category, the one that defines our kind of perspective on gaming and game genres, because let's talk about that for a second. The Game Awards are themselves proof that fucking genre categories suck. They're terrible. It kind of just squashes everything to the least common denominator, to the point where you're getting a fucking indie published game in best indie, which is in itself such a wide label for genre. Anything could be an indie game at this point.
Ben, we know as Buddhist practitioners here on the pod.
I'm sitting here cross-legged as we go. Yeah.
I'm in my meditative pose.
I'm in the lotus pose right now. Yeah.
Categories are a human construction used to simplify in our brains the universe and our interconnectedness.
Right. So in our attempt to order the universe in as clear a delineation as possible, we have our first and inaugural category of lean in and lean back games, the only signifier that should ever matter in terms of your gaming classifications, your taxonomy, if you will.
Preach.
So
I'm snapping my fingers.
I open the floor to nominations. So just again, we're in our first category, which is itself a dual category. So we'll do lean in first, then lean back, and we each get a chance to nominate a game, and then we go back and we debate it out. We fight. We kiss. We make up. We decide who is the ultimate winner after we've each given a nominee. And yeah, there may be some overlaps. You never know. All right, who wants to go first? Because this is one where I've got multiple options. So I'm willing to.
I'm not gonna give my. I read this one wrong, is what I'm gonna say. So okay. I don't have a perfect pick or a pick for each category. So I could come up with that, but what I read it as a game that encompasses both.
Okay,
the lean in
interesting,
and the lean back style.
It kind of breaks down the dichotomy that we're working with, but those rare gems do exist that encompass both aspects.
So I will speak and say that I would allow it.
So, and I think you'll appreciate my pick.
It could serve as your nomination for both, you know, if
exactly. That's why I'm saying, like, I'll allow it if he, unless he like has time to think about it. But
yeah.
Tears of the Kingdom.
Ooh, okay, that's a good one. I do think that is a good one.
Yeah.
I do think
you
that
could get really sweaty with it, being like leaning in, either doing puzzles or, you know, fighting people, whatever, getting really into the engineering of it. Or you could just be sitting back, fucking flying on a jet plane.
Finding Koroks, you know?
Yeah, or running around finding Korok.
Exploring caves.
Getting some Korok poop.
Yeah,
checking out the depths.
The perfect encapsulation of
that's a good one. I like that.
Reuniting you know, the long lost members of an incredible folk band. One of my favorite
of
quests.
Course.
Dude, they fucking slap. The stable trotters,
yeah, once you get them all together,
slap.
they're great at all of the
oh my god, I love that
stables.
song. I love that song.
We we need to bring back good folk music, and you know, in America, some revolutionary folk music.
Oh yeah. All right.
We're tradition.
We're just doing lean in first, right? That's what we said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll do mine. Armored Core 6.
Right.
The crowd goes wild.
Yeah. That was one of my options, so I know which one I'm doing instead. Which go ahead.
I appreciate both those nominations, Mike. Interesting thought process, and I do think that's a pretty great answer if you're looking for something that, you know, spans the spectrum. But for lean in, I have Dead Space, which that game had me always on the edge of my seat, just in the gamer crouched position, bad posture, my back's hurting.
Which gamer crouched position? Because there's two of them. there's the squatting crouched position, which they commonly use when they don't want to go to the actual toilet.
Dude, that shit happens more than I'm willing to admit. Just like, no, just one more quest, just one more little thing, and then I'll go take a shit.
Yep.
Well, at least you're not shitting
I can
in a
lock
bucket.
in. I can lock in for
lock it in.
for 30 more minutes.
There's some freaks that like piss and shit in buckets and stuff.
Oh yeah,
so they can't stop.
They make a DIY throne for themselves. You know, they take a gamer chair, cut a hole in the bottom, and duct tape a fucking bucket with a toilet seat lid on top. You know,
so
they're disgusting.
Committed.
The moral of the story is we're all willing to give ourselves UTIs for gaming.
Was it Bill Gates who said hire the lazy engineer because he'll come up with the easiest solution?
Yeah, which is always the best. Work smarter, not harder.
Yeah, just steal it from other people.
A high quality person there would have plumbed in a bidet.
Oh, for sure.
All right. So since Armored Core was my other pick, it makes my decision quite easy. My nomination is for me was like, it was both the surprise of the year, but also the fulfilling of the best hope I had in the year was Lies of P. What for me was like probably one of the I would have to go back in my memory in like my records to see what other, like, you know, non-From Souls-like games have I played other than this one, because
there's so many and there's so many bad ones,
right? And so this was so good, and like there were elements that felt like pretty obvious that it wasn't.
It's funny because people make the obvious connection of Bloodborne there, but whenever I watched it, all I saw was Sekiro all over that game.
Yeah, if you're gonna say it's any of them, it's a combination of the two. It's like the tone of Bloodborne, but it does have a certain Bloodborne mechanic, like the rally system is
kind of similar. He also has the arm,
and blocks block and parry, you can say, are interchangeable here, but it takes a lot of inspiration from both. But it like a true From game, maybe the level design was a little too linear, that like there weren't places to go get kind of lost in, and real secret hidden areas, like the divergent pathways where maybe, yeah, they just circle back and, you know, you get a different piece of loot or something. But there was never not a scenario where I'm just on the edge of my seat, you know, sweating, grinding away, you know, whether it be just, you know, wanting to proceed and explore further in the level, or, you know, dealing with a pretty challenging boss fight. And this was all, of course, you know, I tip my cap to myself that, you know, beating the game all pre patches, both that and Armored Core. I have, those are two feathers in my cap. That you know, those
That
are,
patch will come up later, folks.
yeah, those are probably my two sweatiest gaming moments of the year. And you know, Lies of P was charming in the ways it needed to be. It was engaging in all the right ways to make it a well-earned nominee for Lean In Game of the Year. All right, do we choose our pick here and then go to Lean Back? I think that's what we should do. What
Yeah,
what do we think?
I'm with that.
We're just, you know, open the floor to votes here.
Ultimately, I think it's Armored Core for me. I would vote for AC.
All right, got one vote for Armored Core.
I'll go with Armored Core as well.
It might be an AC sweep
good.
here.
Yeah, so it's a sweep for me in the fact that I have Tears of the Kingdom would be, in my mind, a lean back game.
For
Like
sure.
if I were to vote for it, it would be lean back, not lean in.
I am happy to give it to Armored Core, and I'll give them the sweep because they deserve it. It's just, maybe for me personally, it's just that
Lies of P gets a shout out.
it does, and it was more just like I had more trouble with, and you know, more sweat was poured out for more bosses in Lies of P than it was Armored Core. Armored Core had like the inflection points, you know, for the playthrough where there was like the
That first time that Ibis comes back.
Yeah, the chapter bosses were just like, it's like, oh my god, you know, it's the you know, the meme video of the sweaty guy just, you know, mashing the mashing the keys, where it was just there was more ebb and flow there. But I do think Balteus pre-patch was the longest I've spent on a boss fight this year, so for that alone, I think it takes it. So Armored Core, claps all around for you. Lean In Game of the Year. You know, fitting, one best action game. I think that's
We'll send the trophy to them. I'll arrange that.
Yeah, you'll get that in the mail eventually.
Maybe they'll start sending us reviews.
Maybe
review copies.
All right, so we already have Mike's pick of Tears of the Kingdom for lean back game of the year.
I'm pretty excited to announce my nomination, and it is Pokemon Sleep.
Ooh.
The most lean back game you can imagine.
Damn. Yeah. Man, how did I not think of that?
That is, I mean,
it's like, is it worth nominating anything else at this
point? No.
I mean, I had like a nomination joke I wanted to make, but
yeah, go for it.
Because like I was gonna say my lean back game was also Armored Core 6, because that was just me in the garage putting together my dream mech.
Yeah.
Right. Mine was a game that I didn't even play this year. It was just from like I was like going through, I did a lot of sweaty gaming this year, you know, lots of, you know, it'd be different kinds of stuff, whether it's action focused things or deep RPGs where I'm, you know, up until 3 a.m. researching, you know, this mechanic or best build or, you know, synergies and shit like that. So lots of that was like the majority of my gaming this year. But in terms of aesthetic and and everything I've seen about it, I was going to pick Dave the Diver because purely on concept alone. You know, it's a you know, it's a fishing and restaurant sim at its core. I think there were elements that were added on that a little bit more action oriented, but still, just the concept of a jolly old fat man scuba diving, you know, feeling represented there, you know, serving sushi, you know, it's you know, if it seemed right. It's been on my wish list, and as soon as it goes on sale to a price that I'm comfortable with, I'm absolutely going to pick it up and play it. It was more just it was a game I knew I could wait till.
I'm
it was
glad
like
we've shouted
$5.
it out, but it's a Pokemon sweep for me.
Yeah.
No questions
that's
about
beautiful.
it. That was an amazing pick. You can't get more lean back than that. I'm fully reclined, you know. I am fully recumbent while enjoying Pokemon Sleep. Incredible.
Pokemon CPAP.
Hell
It's
yeah.
a layback game, not even a lean back.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Alrighty. Okay. So I mean that one went faster than I thought. It being a double category.
I mean, when someone drops
Yeah.
the hottest fire since Dr. Dre dropped the Chronic.
Not the Chronic 2.
I was just going to say the original Chronic. I was going.
All right. Next category. Moving right along.
Here we go.
Preempting the music.
Another fun one, I think. This is
yes.
Cyberpunked, the most overhyped game that we had this year that, you know, failed to live up to whatever was promised in the development cycle, or in certain cases, maybe just completely busted at launch, as Cyberpunk, we all know, was. So, boys, would love to hear, what are the noms for your most cyberpunked game of 2023?
Yeah, I've got a. This is a double category. This is a double choice for me. I've got options here, so
Same.
somebody's got to put the hammer down. I'm
Matt,
willing to do
it.
that. I've got a preference.
I mean,
here.
I can be the asshole Starfield.
Yeah, I mean that. Like this could have just become the Starfield category instead. You know,
It could have.
You know, last
Renamed.
year, yeah, renaming it after the particular game. Although
Starfield was on my list or among my choices.
Yeah, I knew it was going to be there.
Should we? Does anyone have any weird picks? Because I know the three that we might all have.
I've got one that maybe you guys didn't think of, but it's not like it's an out there pick or anything.
Let's just throw them all up.
I'm going. I had a Skull Island King Kong. That might not be the right name, but I thought that was a hilarious story.
Did that actually have promise though?
Probably.
I mean, I think what
not.
he's trying to say is that any hype for that game, anything whatsoever, was too much hype.
All right, mine was, and again, I had a couple options, but I'm going to go with Jedi Survivor as being, again, absolutely broken and busted, making the promise that was probably from all accounts, for those who enjoyed those games, was there, but it was an unplayable mess. It was like you had to dig
just
in,
as the first game was, just like everyone said it was going to be.
And remember, folks, it's still not fully fixed on PC.
Nice.
They've been
never will be.
It never will be. They're like, nope, we're moving on to the next one.
Yep.
Which honestly, respect. I respect that.
Please fix your game, Chad. No.
My other pick was Forspoken.
That has some hype. I'm honestly surprised. So my other pick was another obvious one. It would have been, a Bethesda heavy thing. Would have been Redfall.
Yeah, I had that one written down too.
Because that one had a bunch of hype. So that one gets an honorable mention. Not part of the final though. Mm-hmm. Interesting to see. I personally, I would have obviously for my pick put Redfall over Starfield. I was never that hyped for Starfield. Even as like a former Skyrim enjoyer, You know, I never had the wool over my eyes there.
No, I just put it there because of the response by the developers.
Yeah. I knew whereas Redfall, tricked me. I thought it was going to be good,
Yeah.
and I was excited for it, and was, really let down by its ultimate product. Even what we see now, the people still defending it are, they're I don't know. Would you say it's more is it funnier or more sad that the people who are still defending Redfall versus the people still defending Starfield?
It's funny for me.
Both groups are dwindling, but like which one's sadder?
Redfall's sadder for me. Because like Starfield at least has some redeemingness to it, if that's your thing. But Redfall's just bad.
But Starfield also still has some level of a community of people to talk to. It's like the Redfall people defending it. It's like, who are you talking to? There's like maybe two other people. Like you're literally
What was the last
you're talking
thing
to a
it was?
mirror.
It was like under 500 people concurrent or something like that.
No, less than that. Like one of the last things I remember seeing, or maybe it went back up after the 60 FPS update, but it was like you couldn't fill out a squad or something. In multiplayer and matchmaking, you couldn't do matchmaking. There were so few people on Steam. Okay, well, so that's enough time spent to the runner-up.
My vote.
Yeah, let's get votes.
Jedi Survivor.
Oh, interesting. I'm going Starfield personally. I was excited for that game when it was announced, and then it was slowly stripped away, the excitement, but just seeing the final product was disappointing to me.
I'm going Starfield.
I'm clarifying the fact that my vote is not saying that I was hyped for any of these. It was just that that's who I'm voting for.
Disclaimer.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna go with, Starfield's gonna win. I'm not gonna whether I vote for it or not. Well, yeah, because I don't want to tie Jedi Survivor. I'm gonna go for Spoken, because for me, leaning more towards the hype aspect, it was a game I was originally excited for. Like Redfall, it had, in its initial showcases, had stuff that interested me. I thought the graphics looked cool. I thought the magic looked cool. But then, the more and more they showed of it, the less interested I got. And I can forgive the corny dialogue. You can kind of tune that out. But like, I played the demo and it was just like, I don't know, it felt bland. It felt boring. The magic looked cool, but didn't feel cool. So that was the big letdown for me. But Starfield is the winner, folks. Yay, they actually won an award.
See, that's what I was going for. I was going for them not to win the award.
Congratulations.
I was trying to prevent them from winning anything.
Yeah. No, if there's one for them to win, this is it. So congratulations to them. You earned it. Okay, moving along before the music comes to Take My Wife and Children.
My turn. We are talking. I see what you did here. You did no lifer for me because I'm the person.
I didn't originally. It had been swapped, but I had to change it up, and it was like, okay, that fits. That's good. Mwah.
Yeah. I see what the industry is doing here. They're framing me in a bad way. Don't believe them, folks.
Bad light.
This is all misinformation. But we're talking no lifer here. And it's basically the game that, took the most of your or other people's life this year.
I do like the focus on other
my life.
on other people's lives as well. That put the biggest strain on any interpersonal relationships. That's a great way to frame it. All right. I feel like I know what Matt's is going to be, so
yeah, I mean that's.
So I'm
do you want me to just say it?
Sure, because that was my
Hello
second
Kitty Island Adventure.
For real, for real.
Yeah, no. Tears of the Kingdom, obviously. 170 hours the last time I checked.
That was probably that actually ekes out to be my most played game up until right now. Rogue Trader, as I'm currently playing, haven't finished yet, so I couldn't keep that in or put that in one of these categories yet. May end up being longer than Tears of the Kingdom.
Wow.
I did put more hours into Tears of Kingdom than
Those
I
are
did
both longer than. What about Baldur's Gate?
say that's my choice of Baldur's Gate.
Where's
That
that?
was my choice as well.
It is and this one is a personal one for me, is my playtime for Baldur's Gate was 116 hours for one playthrough, and my time with Tears of the Kingdom was 125.
Yeah, I saw people when whatever is it Sven
Sven, yes. Sven Vink,
made
yeah.
the statement earlier in the week that it's like we made a good game. You're gonna like just like pay money for it. It's not going on Game Pass.
Hell yeah. And goated. It's like in the top charts on all Xbox platforms now. And like, it varies by market, but like
Yeah,
it's selling really well on Xbox.
but
So it's like, again, proof you don't need to do that. You don't take the Game
the
Pass money.
reaction on Reddit was fun because there was a lot of
Of
people who were
course.
like, it's like one playthrough is like 120 hours or something like that. It's like if you don't think that's worth like
In terms of dollars to donuts, like actual value, absolutely. Your entertainment value. I mean, it's always been the argument, right, that gaming is your best deal in terms of hours of entertainment. Say take it to like movies, like you're going to spend $15, some up even more, depending on how metropolitan
$15 for popcorn.
your community is. Yeah, you're going to spend 10 to 20 bucks on a ticket, plus any if that's the minimum you pay for
Be
an
a
hour.
$50 outing.
Right. And so for like an hour and a half, 2 hours max.
I was gonna say, I think
versus-
ours were like, I think for each one it was about 30-ish bucks for me total.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we
Yeah, I
I
would
did
say
we did a double
anywhere
feature, yeah.
anywhere from like 30 to 60 bucks depending
Let's say,
on
but
where
we're
you
not-
are.
But you have to
Yeah,
understand that there's also the cultural zeitgeist, as they will, when
Yeah.
you see a movie and how it lives in your brain forever. How I'll always be on that boat running away from Godzilla.
paying for the
All
experience
right,
and the
hold on.
clout.
Reining it back in here before Jeff pops up in our chat and it's just like get back on track.
With his shitty suits.
Yeah, the say Baldur's Gate, has, I think, maybe more replayability than Tears of the Kingdom. That's a toss up though. That once you've explored Tears of the Kingdom, as an open world type of thing, there aren't divergent paths, there aren't choices that you're making that's going to be truly different content. Whereas Baldur's Gate, you can do so many different playthroughs that would truly consume your life. But yeah, for one playthrough, even though it took me less time, it felt more engrossing, and it took over my mental space more than Tears of the
Get out
Kingdom
of my
did.
head, get out of my head, get out
Yeah,
of my head.
Tears of the Kingdom came close, but there were multiple times.
I think I remember it was like maybe your third or fourth time playing, or maybe like your second week. You texted me at like 1:30 or like 2 o'clock in the morning, and we're like, "It's got me,"
Yeah,
or something like that.
yeah, it's got. They both had their hooks in me, but yeah, there were multiple times with Baldur's Gate that I was up till like 3 a.m. It would be
Yeah,
like,
no, you did it with Baldur's Gate too. I just remember the Tears of the Kingdom one because it was more recently.
yeah, but it was like,
Yeah.
I
I remember the Baldur's Gate. I went to bed at 2 p.m. 2 a.m. Sorry.
2
there was-
p.m.
there
Stayed
were
up for another entire day and
Yeah.
a half.
Yeah,
Full
there were
cycle.
multiple, at least multiple times where I was up till 3 p.m. It would be like I looked down, it was 11 p.m. at night. I go back, do a couple more quest lines, look back down, it's 3 a.m. Like, oh fuck.
You see, the most
Time for
important
bed.
thing for me when I'm playing video games at night is keeping my watch on
Mhm.
so that I can like quick glance down and see the time.
Yeah,
Because if I don't have my watch on, time doesn't exist.
Yeah, say Baldur's Gate being a PC game, I've got like the clock right there, so I can always see what time it is if I look there. But yeah, console game, it can just blend into nothingness. All right, so any other additions to those two?
Yeah, I just want to throw out my personal one, which for me, my longest play game was Final Fantasy 16 this year. But when it comes to this category, I kind of think of what is the most demanding of me when I'm playing it. And for me, it was Resident Evil 4. That I was, taking lunch breaks and just banging out a couple missions instead of eating. And that was the only game that really did that to me this year. So that's my nom. However, I do think my vote would be for Baldur's Gate 3. I think that's just an overall engrossing game, and that's partially why I have not jumped into it yet.
My vote is also Baldur's Gate 3.
Is
BG
it
Tree.
Is it a BG3 sweep? I know I'm saying my vote for there. Matt, are you going to be contrarian?
Some might say it's a BG3.
So you cut out a little bit there. It's so
a BG3.
So,
Three sweet. So he's voting for BG Tree.
Okay, good. All right. So that's a universal decision there where it's the winner. It's the actually put that here.
It's purely based on the fact that there's so many decision trees and stuff that someone like me who has an analytically inclined brain is very overwhelmed by the concept. And
so if Matt ever plays this game, is he going to create a flow chart to
yes. You don't understand.
I'm sure those exist out there, but Matt's going to make his own.
I'm trying to convince
he's going to use the proprietary flowchart software from Nathan Fielder's the rehearsal. That was one of my favorite bits from that.
Great show. I'm trying to convince work to get me a whiteboard so I could do Charlie Day type shit with pins and strings.
I have a whiteboard.
Murder boards.
Yeah.
I have a massive whiteboard right next to my desk.
I need one.
I own one, but it's like in storage right now. I need to bring it over. I don't know.
All right.
I don't know where I'm gonna put it. Okay.
I'm up. I'm gonna talk to the ladies of gamers out there.
Right.
Do you wake up?
Take my headphones out. It's not for me.
So, do you wake up in the middle of the night because your significant other has thrown a controller into the TV screen?
Embedded in the wall.
Has he thrown his noise canceling headphones off that you make him wear when he plays the console in bed next to you? Will you have your mask on and your earplugs in?
This sounds very personal.
Them across the room, startling your cat who's sleeping on your head to dig its nails into your temples, waking you up at 3 a.m. This is the rage quitter category, people. So what are our nominations?
Does this also encompass the people who've heard mid 17th century slurs spoken for the first time?
Just epigenetic memories of
unlocked.
Yeah.
All right. So for me, mine's a controversial one. Believe it or not, this was the hardest category for me. I did not have that many angry moments this year. It was like a good moment in gaming. Maybe some of those boss fights in Lies of P maybe approached that territory. I'm thinking Romeo King of Puppets, the second phase of the fucking swamp monster, and then not the actual final boss, the Simon Manus awakened arm of God. Those three, tested my patience. But in the end,
ass names.
In the end, they, I saw it through and I didn't quit and didn't have it whereas my actual pick, I'm not going to stop playing the game. I've kept it as one that I'm going to play with my nephew, but it's just like a realization. And I totally accept it's a skill issue. I don't like platformers, folks. I don't like them. I don't find them fun. if they frustrate me in such a specific way that like make me feel bad about myself. That's like, this is a baby
Yes.
game. This is a baby game. Why can't I do this?
Because you're
And
not a baby.
I'm talking about Mario Wonder. I was like, oh, I don't like Mario, the mainline Mario games, whether it was largely coming from the 3D ones. So I'm like, because the last 2D Mario I played was like on my fucking Game Boy Advance SP, which I remember enjoying fine. I don't remember it being that challenging, or maybe it's just because my reflexes were faster. But Mario Wonder, like,
Yeah, they started turning the fluoride levels in the water up around
just a little bit,
2009.
yeah.
Mm.
And it's just, for me, it's just like, I was like, man, like I've played enough to have my opinions for this conversation right now, basically. And it's like, yeah, I'm not gonna never play this again. It's a perfect low stakes thing to play with my nephew. He knows and recognizes who Mario is. He loved the movie, so
It's good to enforce Italian stereotypes to your nephew early.
get them while they're young.
Yeah.
And this is also something I can give him the controller for. It's like, I don't really fucking care.
Yeah, then you give him Nabbit so he can't die
Right,
other than
right,
falling into a pit.
right.
You should you better make sure you have a specific controller for him that you're okay with it getting sticky.
Mad Cats.
He has his
Yeah.
own, like, he has his own Fisher Price controller that he normally uses. Like,
Yeah, that's
it's
fake.
like it's a learn and play type thing. But I do have an extra. Maybe I'll give him the Joy-Cons. I don't really care about the Joy-Cons.
Yeah, just get a specific one that could be sticky.
But Mario Wonder is it for me. Like, it was just like, you know what? I don't need to, like, even though it's everything I've read is like it's 10 to 12 hours to go through all stages. I'm just like, you know what? I want to play something I'm actually interested in and I'm like excited about. So I put that one on the shelf, and that's like the only game I think that I started this year that I put down and have not finished. So that was it for me.
So
Who's next?
I didn't play many games from this year because I'm always behind on the gaming. So I had to look at the games that were released and see what would just make me angry. And it was Threat Rhythm Final Bar Line.
Ooh, an interesting pick. It's like Theatr Rhythm, I think is what how it's actually pronounced. It's the Final Fantasy rhythm game.
Yeah,
and I'm not going to try to spell that in the in the Google Doc right now. I'm just going to do FF rhythm game,
because similar to Ben, I this is a baby game, so to speak, that a child could play, following the rhythm, but it would just frustrate me, and I would be throwing controllers. It would bring me back to doing like trying to do Guitar Hero, Freebird on like extra difficulty as a child and failing.
Fire and Flames, blindfolded backwards.
Yeah, left-handed controller. Yeah.
All right, I'll jump in as a. I must say this was a challenging category for myself as well as a reformed game quitter in general. I did a pretty good job this year of sticking through everything I started, and part of that also I think was my selectivity this year with what I played. So ultimately, I did go with something more akin to what's going to make me mad. And for me, that was the Payday 3 release. I've honestly always been intrigued by those games. When it was announced, I was interested enough that I thought I'd check it out. And they released a completely unplayable game to the point where they had to like.
Yeah, there were
Essentially
queues that were
re-release
like
it,
an
right?
hour
I
and a
think that's
half
what they
long or
did.
something like that.
Yeah, the servers were completely borked.
Like, imagine waiting an hour and a half to play a game.
No thanks. I could be playing a game
Crazy.
during that time. All right. So I feel like this is the hardest category for Matt because Matt's autism just doesn't let him quit something.
Yeah,
I'm very
quitting
similar.
isn't allowed. I
Yeah, I'm very
platinum
similar.
Forspoken.
Yeah. Oof. I'm very similar in that regard. It's like when it comes whether it's like books or
Did you just call me
video
regard?
games or movies. All right. So what do you got? What do you got for us?
So on my actual picture here, I'm gonna show it to the camera. You're not gonna be able to see shit. I wrote ... here because I didn't have a fucking clue what I was gonna pick for this. Absolutely nothing. So it left room for improvising. So I'm thinking here on the fly, like what games came out this year that I wanted to do well that didn't, and there were two that stood out to me. I will say both of them just because I feel like they both deserve honorary mention here. I feel like Starfield deserves a mention here as well because there were a lot of people who played Starfield going into it really wanting it to be something it wasn't, and fell off the game around the 8 to 12 hour mark.
But that's where it gets good. That's where it gets good, man.
Yeah,
it's the classic
sure.
meme. It's the classic meme of the gambler who quits right before they hit the jackpot.
Yeah. But I'm gonna go one step further, and I'm gonna make my Rage Quitter actual pick. That's just one I wanted to shout out there because I feel like it deserves the mention. My actual pick is Gollum. Because that was a game that throughout its announcements and whatnot, always in the back of my head, I was like, it would be cool if they could do it right.
I similarly agreed with that one because I thought stealth game Gollum that fits.
And it definitely didn't get done right. And to add insult to injury, my real reason for picking this is because everyone got laid off there, so it was a super rage quit because the studio quit too.
They did the develop. I mean, it's a category we're going to get to. Did the developers get laid off, or I thought they were the ones that
the whole studio shut down.
I know it shut down, but it was more that it's like
they
chose to close their production arm and focus entirely on publishing. So I don't remember looking at did the actual devs did devs get let go, or did they just get reabsorbed somewhere else?
I'm pretty sure some of the dev team got let go.
Probably. I wouldn't be surprised at that.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right.
I know my vote now.
This is you're the only one who actually played any of this.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, votes.
Gollum.
Yeah, I love the Golden nom for you. Actually, that's my vote.
You kidding me? You're not willing to pay the extra money for some of his classic phrases,
or native
or the Elven language.
Yeah, you're not willing to pay for that. Yeah, that one just I think wins alone on the whole execution. Just makes me angry. Because it's kind of similar to its category here, or like how this category is ending up as kind of like the Cyberpunk one, but it's like I don't think the promise or the hype for this one was ever high enough for it to count in there. But like I had hopes that this could be done well. This seemed to be done by people who were passionate about Lord of the Rings and had respect for the material, but then the fucking shit that we got was just like, that's just clearly was not true at all.
I mean, surfboard Gollum scooting around was super cool.
Yeah. Okay, so is it a Gollum sweep again?
Yeah.
I couldn't come up with a good pun for that one.
I think that's also just a great win there because there were so many times where I saw people literally have to quit the game because of a bug, like actually forcing you to quit.
It knew what was best for you. It's like, no, you should stop playing this game right now. All right.
The bugs were developers like behind the scenes trying to like stop you.
Yeah.
That's based.
Okay, moving on to our next category. This is another returning category, but with a slightly different name. I am here presenting. I've got my fingers touching together. This is Ooh Woo for You, the horniest game of the year. we had something like biggest waifu or something like that, which, believe me, if we had done biggest waifu, I still would have known who I would have picked, and it would have fallen under the same game because Karlak is my biggest waifu of the year. She is large. Please step on my throat. But I'm just gonna give I'm gonna give my nomination out the front. Horniest game of the year. I don't know that you can debate it's anything other than Baldur's Gate 3 pre-patch. That is a specific note of pre-patch. It's still a very horny game, but pre-patch, literally, you would come back to camp and everybody was asking for that dick. Everybody wanted it. Everybody was down. It was, you had to be like literally fending them off with a pitchfork. Except for maybe Astarion who would laugh at you if make me feel bad if you ask, like, imagine it was like he's got some line like that, it's like with
Imagine
you, he basically goes ugh! He basically does the puking noise. But yeah, for me it's Baldur's Gate 3 pre-patch, horniest game of the year, no competition. Who's next? Who's coming for the king?
I have to agree with Ben that my nom and vote is BG3 here. You can have relations with the bear. That, like,
can I also add
that's the top.
If you successfully romance the evil companion, you have to do some minor genocide to do that. The consummation scene, you start 69ing and you see everything.
Nice. Butthole and all.
You see everything.
I will say, incredible. I will give. I did want to give Tears of the Kingdom just a shout out for Daddy Ganondorf.
Zaddydorf.
And the general horniness of every character for Link. It's a little bit toned down in this game compared to Breath of the Wild, in my opinion.
Oh, it's I would say it's majorly toned down.
Like not nearly like Paya for example isn't horny for Link no more. She's got a new daddy.
Oh, but Pura, makes up for that by calling you Linky every time. Every time
me when she calls me Linky.
Yeah, it's just like, oh boy.
It brings me back to engineering school when we were talking about 4-bar linkages.
All right, so you're putting Tears of the Kingdom as your pick?
Are you asking me?
No.
Or Andrew?
That's just no, BG3 is my pick, but I just wanted to shout
BG3.
out.
Right, Zaddydorf. Yeah, that's right. Sorry.
Right. I picked Final Fantasy 16.
Just because of Clive's ultra snatched waist. My man is literally wearing his father's corset through the majority of the game.
That was my other.
A good one.
I thought the romance was palpable.
There's only one sex scene though, and it's like
there's
tons
of romance,
and it's fade to black.
And I mean, there's also him in the illusion with Benedicta.
True. Oh, that's true.
All right.
Oh, actually, no. There is another sex scene with Benedicta and what's his face, Titan.
Barnabas.
No, Barnabas is Odin.
Kupka,
yeah, that's right. All right.
And I mean, Sid is just sex on screen, even if he's just sitting there.
A shame he wasn't nominated for any of the at most he could have been, or was he nominated for the was he nominated for
no
Golden Joystick though for best supporting? Because that's where it would have come in.
Did, yes, that they did.
Okay. So at least he got that. I'm not surprised he didn't win, but like again, it was Neil Newbon's year. All right, Mike. Sorry to interrupt.
Pinkman 4.
Are you specifically calling it Pinkman?
Yeah.
Even though it's Pikmin 4?
Oh yeah, because my brain is mush. So it likes
an RTS for children is your horniest game of the year.
Yeah.
Apparently it's pretty horny.
Really?
I mean, you breed Pikmin, I think, but like
yeah.
Okay.
That's why.
They are submissive and breedable.
Okay. Well, that means I'm gonna have to do some. I'm gonna have to do some personal research after the end
I
of
was gonna say
this
if you
episode.
were gonna pick a game sort of in that category, I mean, I could see like Fire Emblem. I don't know how horny Fire Emblem was this year.
Um, I mean, you do get to marry somebody. There's booba galore. You know,
Toothpaste Chan.
toothpaste Chan. Yep. There's mega booba for sure. But say one of the villains for Engage is she is like a wooga. Yeah, hit myself in the head with a hammer.
One of
Definitely.
the villains is the type of character that when they come on screen, you're like, you know what, you're right. I agree with you. Just
Yeah.
stay on screen.
So my vote still goes to Baldur's Gate. Don't think. Again, anybody coming for the
Yeah.
king, you best not
It's a
miss.
sweep for me, at least.
Any disputes? Going once, going twice.
I want to just to be contrarian because it's in my nature, but
We know this. It's just hard to deny. You can't deny how horny Baldur's Gate is. You really
No.
can't.
no, I can't.
It's like
It's also one of the
just
overwhelming
steals
things
this.
for me is
It
because
just steals
having to
this
map out
category.
all of the relationships.
But dude, you can be poly. You can be poly in this game, which again further would confuse, say Matt's flowchart because it's all the possibilities of who is willing to be in a
Multiplying.
to be in a
Suck 'em
thruple with this person and who's not. And yeah, I tried being in a thruple with I think Gail and Karlak, but Gail's like, no. I'm a monogamist. Basically says, call me old fashioned, but it is what it is. I ended up hating Gale by the end. He makes a really fucking shitty decision at the end. But yeah, that's completely different. Not relevant to the discussion here. But yeah, Baldur's Gate 3 all day.
Can you attain the mythical quadruple?
I don't think so. I think thruple is the only poly relationship you can do. The game would break if you tried to do that. Do more than Again, almost everybody is super horny for your character, but like there are certain ones where there might just be not enough of those combinations available. Okay. Moving along.
Right,
Keep on trucking.
This is a fun one in my opinion. We got time to level up your game in 3 simple steps. Doctors hate this man. What is your most forced RPG mechanic in a game? And I'm gonna throw this right out there because this actually truly did kind of annoy me, and it's the Spider-Man 2 basic traversal shit that you have to unlock. That was so annoying and silly in my mind. It's the 3rd game in the series. Just let us have some of those beginning things off.
Like, didn't you have to I think you had the point launch, but you had to spend to upgrade it, which is just stupid.
Yeah.
I am firmly in the opinion that any ability that you unlocked in a previous game, if they're bringing it back in, should remain unlocked. The only things that you would need to unlock should be new stuff.
So my
I agree.
choice is very similar because I agree with that one. I hadn't thought of that, but I was thinking of, and it's not just specific to Spider-Man 2, but the pointless fucking little like puzzles that you have to do sometimes that are just like shit. They aren't like a cool puzzle that advances any storyline or like it makes you think in any way. It's just like line up the charges so that they go to the other side to unlock this token. I think that's pointless.
So is there a specific example that you're giving for that? That's a good Joan. Are you saying
But
that
the Spider-Man 2,
Spider-Man?
yeah. I had like the Spider-Man 2 like
Spider-Man 2
puzzles, yeah. But I think in general, I've
got one specifically from Spider-Man that I did not like. The one of the Brooklyn Academy puzzles where you help the guy asking his date for prom. You know, it was just the puzzles were it was so stupid. It's you know, beyond fluff, you know, of you know, just padding out some game time there. Absolutely. I think that's a pretty good one, and there are quite a few of those that exist. Matt, do you have one, or should I go next?
Mine. So mine is more broad sense. It's basically the entirety of the RPG mechanic system baked into Starfield.
Because it like
I
doesn't
think
it's like doesn't exist. There's like no fucking
what is there is too much. They should have just made it the space exploration sim that it was supposed to be, and not tried to make it into
you can just say
any form of
you
actual
can just say
RPG.
even the dialogue stuff, you know, it gives you an illusion of choice, but it's not actually so it is a mechanic being put in there for the sake of a mechanic without actually doing
It's a
anything.
mechanic that's put in there because they've always put that mechanic in there, and if they don't put it in there, you wouldn't know it's a Bethesda game.
All right, so mine falls under similar category of it's forced. It's put in there just to be there, and it doesn't actually do anything. And it would be Final Fantasy 16's gear system.
That is a good one.
I basically just treated it like transmog.
Absolutely pointless.
It's just like a new looking weapon for every chapter.
Yeah, the weapon is maybe the best part, but like the things of like the other gear that you incorporate, it doesn't even do that. It doesn't even do transmog. Doesn't even change. You don't see any of it. It's just like it puts you up like your armor score goes from 30 to 32. You know, it's incredibly pointless. You know, you might as well you should just like again not have it and just have like scaling armor or something like that, you know, that just like you level up and you've got more armor. You know, the fact like that you have to like go and either you know, buy it or have it built from the blacksmith. Granted, it didn't take that much time, and it didn't bother me that much because you had plenty of resources. It didn't take that much time, but
I never found myself intentionally farming anything for it.
No, never.
Like I always seem to have exactly what I needed when the new stuff unlocked in the
so
in
just
the
give
shop.
it to me. So just give it to me. You know, just let it happen in the background. You know, it's like if you don't have to make it intentional, you know, if you don't actually have to work for it and you know think about it, then what's the point? What's the point? It's not it's there to it is truly just there to be there, and that's it. But with me getting as heated about that one as I am, I'm going to give my vote to the Spider-Man 2 traversal because that shit is fucking bullshit. I hate that practice of nerfing your character in a sequel just to have a skill tree that you know that exists that is as beefed out as possible.
Exactly. I'm gonna vote for that as well.
Same.
It looks like that's going to win, but Matt, what's your?
I'm
vote?
not giving it the sweep.
I think that's fair. I think that's fair.
And I'm giving it to the Starfield dialogue choices.
Yep, that's a good one. I don't think that is.
And it's again mostly just built around the idea that like I was someone coming into this generation that wanted to give Xbox like a chance.
Give them their
to it with the idea that I was going to have an Xbox and a PS5. Because I do have some Xbox physical games that could be backwards compatible and fun to use. But Starfield was one of those things I was looking at as a potential, like a pull, like, oh, maybe, you know, if it's good enough, I'll look for a holiday sale for the Series X, you know, and throw it on the desk. But
I will say that in general, in terms of exclusives on both sides this year, there has not been near like Sony has not put out enough, you know, exclusives. But to the point where, I still don't think Xbox is giving me any reason to want to buy into their ecosystem,
No.
because the rare things that I do want to play, I could play on PC, and I'm fortunate enough to be able to do that. But like even that, like anything that's basically third party that's not an Xbox exclusive, you choose your one console, you're fine. There's been no reason to really actually immerse yourself in a
Yeah,
full
and I mean,
other
my biggest
ecosystem.
thing is that if I'm buying everything primarily for PS5 as my primary form of play, it's because I want to use my DualSense Edge. And while I do have the Xbox Elite 2, and I could use that with my with a Series X, it doesn't have nearly the feel and the integration that the Edge does. It's like a fun little thing in Yakuza 0. The dual sense is that when you change fighting styles, the lights on the controller change.
Mm,
And so
yes,
when you're doing
because each
Dragon
one
of
has its own color. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
When you're doing Dragon of Dojima style, it pulses like a pink to blue glow.
All right, Matt, you've got our next category here.
I do indeed. I was holding off because you got to stretch it out and bloat things when we're talking about Ubisoft open worlds. What we're doing here is we're talking about the most bloated open world, the one with the most formulaic outcomes, the one that is there for you to check off lists, the one that is there for you to embed most of your well-being and mental wellness into to get the outcome you desire. And I've got one that I don't think any of you would put down. I feel like it would be forgotten. And it is an actual Ubisoft game, Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora.
My two options were both were both Ubisoft games. Mine is Assassin's Creed Mirage. It's actually the one Ubisoft game I played this year, and you don't have to engage with it, but when you open up the map, it's like, oh my god, get me out of here. It's so immersion breaking. It's just like I like the addition of these things in that game. Like you click, you go, you click, and it's all about these like points of interest. But it's the only purpose is to educate you. You learn some history about it, and it's pretty cool. But like, just again, it just makes the map look so fucking oppressive. But yeah, I was like, I felt a little bad picking an Ubisoft game for our category, Ubisoft cartographers. But nobody does it like the originators, right?
I mean, I did have a slash Starfield here. Again, I had a lot of slash Starfields.
But there are no maps. There are no actual maps in Starfield.
No, it's just a bloated map, like a bloated game, like too big of a map.
Yeah, but there is no actual map there. That's not a feature that they thought you would want, is to have a map of any city. Like, oh no, we'll add that a year later. Maybe someone will mod it in.
Yeah, someone will mod it in, then we'll buy them into our studio and turn the mod into a base feature in a paid update.
All right. Who else got another one? Any non-Ubisoft games to add to it? Because again, I don't think
I do have the Spider-Man. I have Spider-Man 2.
it is an Ubisoft open world.
But my gripe with that would more be that it's just in no way even close to accurate by any stretch of the word.
It is 100% lore accurate New York.
I don't know what you're talking about. The Brooklyn Bridge always has a door to nowhere. It exists. It's there. You just haven't looked hard enough. You haven't lived there long enough.
But yeah, that's it.
All right, voting time.
Avatar.
Yeah.
I want to actually pull up the map. That's one I haven't looked at. Avatar Frontiers.
This is a tough one.
My vote purely falls on the fact that I feel like the scope of Avatar is bigger than AC Mirage.
Oh yeah, undoubtedly. You know, their UI is at least a little cleaner. It's now not all these fucking, different symbols and shit. Instead, it's just dots. It's just colored dots.
I I'm probably gonna split the vote here and go AC Mirage because I do know Avatar lets you turn off some of those map things at least, which I'll give it a little bit of a bump for. So
Yeah, I don't
giving it
want
to
to
the
give
Kings though.
yeah, I don't want to give it to Avatar because even though yeah, the scope is bigger, it does not look as nearly like if you had a picture side by side of the two, I'd have to say that AC Mirage looks worse in terms of its map. It looks, the classic sense of when you like pull open. Oh, you know what would have been a good addition here, and maybe we can throw this in as well, is Horizon Forbidden West Burning Shores. Uh I think that they are some of the worst defenders of cluttered maps. Um in that type of style. But I can't nominate two games, so that's an honorable mention. Fuck, I gotta give it to this. It is going to be a split vote here, 2-2, Avatar and Assassin's Creed. Do we have a tie-breaking mechanic? We didn't have. I don't think we had one in place for that.
Nope.
The winner is Spider-Man 2.
My default.
Yeah, that
I'm
works
fine
with
with
me.
it. Yeah,
Matt's the head
with
of this category, so
No, I'm fine with that because I also think the map is pretty silly there. All right,
That
Spider-Man.
right there, folks, is a true show of why democracy doesn't matter.
Uh-huh.
yeah. Speaking of overcoming the elites and our overlords is the dictatorship of the proletariat, our best boss fight category. So I have my choice. I'm going to put it out there. And it's my demons. Meaning my own demons have been the best boss fight of the year.
Personal boss fight.
It's been a personal boss fight in the game of Mike.
The inner turmoil, yeah, the game in the game of life, yeah.
Hey, you
Mike's
ended it with a win,
traumas.
I've overcome it a bit, more than last year. We get progressively better.
Ended with a win.
It's
when you
battles,
take your
it's
day,
not the boss war.
And you look at the year before and you're like, hey, last year I ended my day with an hour and a half of crying every night. Now I got that down to an hour and 15 minutes.
That's a tight hour and 15.
Yeah. I get it over with and I go to bed.
Just a quick 75 minutes. My nomination might be a little controversial, but I'm going with Ultima. I had some trouble. Ultima? It was a challenge more so than what was that?
Nissan Ultima.
It was the most challenging fight in the game for me, and I really enjoyed the theatrics of it all.
He was more challenging. He was more challenging for you than Odin. He was more challenging for you than Odin. Odin was harder for me.
So
I scraped by with like 2 health.
I had Ultima written down, but I have it written down with a caveat of 2 different interpretations of this. Because Ultima is probably the best cinematic fight I had this year. Of the tension of the character and the boss.
The Bahamut fight is pretty fucking cinematic.
No, it absolutely.
You're fighting in space.
I'm talking about the culmination of emotional storytelling, and the call outs with the Titans. As he's calling them by name, as Ultima's calling them by power to show a level of respect for the being beyond just their utility.
Yeah,
stuff like that. But my pick is pre-nerf Balteus.
Oh yeah.
And that's because I think pre-nerf Balteus is the perfect perfectly encompasses what overcoming overwhelming difficulty is. Because when you go into that fight and those missiles are locked onto you and tracking that crazy
Oh my god, terrifying.
crazy fucking figure 8 patterns to get back to you, doing triple takes.
I spent 3 hours on that fight. Am I the only one who played pre-nerf Balteus?
No, I beat him
Yeah.
as well.
I think so.
Because you got it right before
Yeah,
right
I was
before
I was coming
the
over to
patch.
your house and I was doing it and I was basically like late because I didn't want to stop.
Right. That's right. Yeah, you got it right before the patch. That's right.
Yeah, because I got pre-nerf Balteus and then I got the Sea Spider post-nerf.
Right. Yeah, Balteus is up there for me. Felt very satisfying. It wasn't one that like I felt super frustrated with, as it was one of the few like tough boss fights where I wasn't like super frustrated after 2 hours and 50 minutes, and then I got my
It's an autonomous PCA unit, Balteus.
codename
Be careful.
Balteus. Yeah, that one was really good. That one was really good. But in terms of this one's, mine's going to be meaningless to you guys because no one else has played Baldur's Gate yet. But mechanically, probably my favorite boss this year was Forge Guardian Grimm from Baldur's Gate. He's this big construct that you find in the Underdark when you get to it's like the Duergar, the deep dwarves have
Excuse me, what
this
did you call me?
you are a deep dwarf. The But it's like mechanically really fucking cool. I don't. You guys may have actually seen parts of it. It was the very memed boss fight of the guy turning into a wild shaping into an owl bear and jumping off the ledge and fucking giving him the atomic elbow and doing like 1,000 damage from jumping from the high ropes onto Grim the Forge Guardian. Because it's one of the coolest areas, particularly in Act 1. But mechanically, it's really cool. So it's like you're making your way to this forge. You've been like seeing all these you've been picking up these lore bits on this crazy thing that can like build the best arms and armament that you can find. Hilariously though, it's like the best armor and armaments you'll get until probably late Act 2, and then everything else is better from that point on. But you're picking up these molds to be able to make the equipment, and like you're going there with the intention of making this shit, and you have the thing has been long non-functioning, so you've got to like fix the thing up, and when you do, fucking like lava starts spilling out, so you got to make sure that your party is on these like specific platforms, and then Grim the Forge Guardian comes down, and there's this mechanic involved where you have to make him vulnerable first. If you don't engage with the mechanics properly, he's invulnerable. You can't do damage to him. But then there's this other bit that again it's using the environment. It's how it used the environment tactically and mechanically that was so cool. You've got to turn get the lava flowing to superheat him to make him vulnerable. You can do this. You don't have to. You have to do that bit, but you don't have to do this. Like the forge is this big fucking thing, and there's a big central pillar that's basically a big fucking hammer that's how you forge and make the item. But if you kite him, draw his aggro and
what word did you say?
Kite. If you kite him into that pathway, you can drop the hammer on him and do a shit ton of damage. Or you can turn into a fucking owlbear and jump from 60 feet above and do a shit ton of damage that way. So it just was one of the most satisfying and mechanically cool fights that I've played this year. But I still love, Balteus and pretty much all the major Armored Core bosses. I debated putting the Rabbit Brotherhood, the first Rabbit Brotherhood fight from Lives of P, because it was frustrating, but it was like one of the most satisfying ones that I had when I beat all those fuckers finally. Like after like dying like 20 times on stream, like continued playing off stream and beat it like an hour later. It just felt really satisfying. But yeah, for me it's Forge Guardian Grim. Totally expecting him not to win, but had to shout it out. What's everybody voting? Where are the votes at?
My demons.
It's a personal battle for you. Even if it doesn't win the category, you can still take home a trophy. No one can take that from you.
Exactly.
I'm gonna go with I'm gonna give it Balteus.
Matt, you doing that as well? Sticking with your guns?
I'm so tempted to go Mike's personal demons. Mike's personal demons gets my vote.
Nice. Yes. Thank you.
And I vote this specifically on the cusp of working on our personal demons is all we can hope for.
Exactly.
I'm gonna split the vote again. I'm gonna give it to Balteus. Sorry, Mike.
It's okay.
That means winner is
So
Ultima.
wins.
All right.
It goes to the Nissan Ultima.
Which was a very, I mean, you could just say Final Fantasy wins this category because it had like the coolest boss fights. It was it was Boss Fight the video game, you know?
Yeah. And it was overthrowing actual like oppressive government bodies and
yeah, it was cool. Yeah. I mean, I was kind of surprised that somebody put Ultima over, say, yeah, Bahamut was going to be my thought that somebody was going to throw that one out. Because that was so
Bahamut
cool.
had me soy facing for an entire 5-minute fight.
They do the fusion dance.
Yeah. They do the fusion dance. We get a fucking Giga Flare. We get an Omega Flare. We get a fucking Zeta Flare.
Zeta Flare, yeah, Zeta Flare, baby.
Canonically, the only two characters in Square Enix history to use a Zeta Flare are Donald Duck and Bahamut Unleashed, or whatever the full term was for.
Dude, I love that bit of lore. That the Donald fucking Duck is the only.
It
other
kills
one
him
to
too.
Yeah,
fucking spoilers for Kingdom Hearts 3 if you
he
hate
sacrifices.
yourself.
Oh, I recently purchased, or no, did I purchase? No, I think I claimed them on PS Plus. You've got Kingdom Hearts 1.5, 2.5, and in 3. So I may try and play those at some point in the future.
Kingdom Hearts 1 is goated, but it's got some really bad age on it from the PS2 era.
Yeah, but those are those versions have been slightly updated at least.
Yes.
Okay, so we now are moving into our final. We've got like one real final. It's like our one
final category.
Yeah, we've got our kind of our serious question, non-bit category at the very end. But this is our last 4 categories are in like a subsection of their own. Those were like the previous ones were all like our game focus ones. These are all our industry categories. And I'm going to start with our first one, which I have lovingly called, Are You Forklift Certified? This has been a banner year for games as a service cancellations. So which one failed their certification tests and has been booted to the curb? I've got a couple choices here.
So I have a nomination on a caveat. And the caveat is it's not canceled, but delayed.
Okay.
And the delay came because of the backlash to the announcement of it being a live service game.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League.
That was one of my
we still don't know for sure if it is. Like it's like every indication is there that it's a live service game, or it's like it's a non-live service game that still has a battle pass. Like, like they're like, oh no, we're gonna walk
full
it
price
back,
game that has a battle pass on top of it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, so it's gonna be the worst of both worlds. But I do think that one is fitting. All right.
That's a good one. I have a somewhat maybe controversial choice here, because not only did they fail their certification, they couldn't even get the application in, and that's Sony's Last of Us live service that they just announced to be canceled before it even got off the ground.
Topical.
Or Naughty
So I
Dog.
had all these.
We love to see it.
I mean,
I had all these on my.
their reasoning
list
was
as
so
well.
good. I mean, like I actually really liked to see what, in their statement, they're like basically like, if we were to go through with this, we would have to become a live service studio, and that's not what we do here. And it's basically, if you read between the lines, it's Sony tried to make us do this, and we're, this is not for us. In a way,
I thought that was a good announcement.
I'm happy for the Bungie acquisition, because we can maybe say thank you for them basically saying, oh yeah, this isn't very good, this isn't reaching its quotas, the monetization isn't there. They're saying it's bad for all the wrong reasons, but the result is still good.
Yes.
So my pick was a game that was not released this year and canceled, or announced and canceled.
No, it could have just been canceled this year. That fits the category.
I have Marvel's Avengers.
That was on my list too.
Yep. I think I'm the only regard in this group that has that owns that game.
I owned it and returned it. I played under the 2 hours and returned
I
it.
bought it on Steam the week before the online portion of the game went off for like $2 or whatever it was.
I was gonna say, didn't you
$3.64.
I thought like you got it in like a penny bucket from GameStop or something. I thought that's
No, it wasn't a penny bucket from
it.
GameStop. I was hoping my local GameStop would be able to give me a physical copy of Babylon's Fall.
Oh, okay.
I was looking for Babylon's Fall physical copies for free, but they're like, no, those are already gone.
Those are already in the dumpster. You missed it.
Yeah. But no,
Okay.
I got that on Steam for like $3.64 or something like that.
Okay. Mine is for a series in a franchise that just has no doesn't have any idea what the fuck it's doing. And it's Vampire the Masquerade Blood Hunt. It has been such a confusing and baffling year for Vampire the Masquerade. We still have no real updates on when Bloodlines 2 is coming out. The Vampire the Masquerade Swan Song game was like released to very poor reception, but Vampire the Masquerade Blood Hunt was again a game that, like, when I first saw just basic stuff for it, I'm like, okay, this looks cool, and then it's like, nope, it's just a Fortnite skin basically. This might as well just be a vampire island in Fortnite. The movement is exactly the same. I remember like we like looked at this on stream one day and we're just like, they like took assets from like the Epic store. It's like is what this looked like. And the Unreal Engine store, and just put a skin on it. And one that I'm glad to see go by the wayside. Just like I hopefully is a wake-up call to the owners of this this IP to be like a little bit more discerning in how they're licensing it and how they're moving forward. That being said, I'm not particularly optimistic about Bloodlines 2, but you never know. All right, voting time.
Suicide Squad.
You see, my heart wants to say Suicide Squad because the idea of King Shark being a guy who shoots guns is just like,
no, it's Captain Boomerang for me is the worst. The man already has a ranged weapon. It's in his name.
might as well call him Captain Wombat.
It's like Deadshot should be the only one who's using guns.
Maybe Harley
Quinn.
Just like Harley maybe should like use like a bazooka that just has the boxing glove fist that comes out of it. You know, it should be something like that, or like
But my vote is for
the clown lapel that squirts acid, or something like that. You know.
But my soul wants to vote for Last of Us Online. And that's just because I like when things get canceled before they come out so that we don't waste any more money trying to make them.
They've already spent so much time on that, though. They've been working on this since Last of Us 2.
And guess what? Sometimes it's okay to say to not put out the thing that you put a lot of time into because it's not good enough.
Right. It's definitely the better. It's definitely the better option.
Yeah, I'm going with
one bad game can tarnish your
Us,
entire reputation so much.
All right, I'm gonna give it to Last of Us. It's, you know, it's topical. It makes me feel good to know that Naughty Dog is moving in the right direction, focusing.
I want to give them an
good.
award for making the right choice.
Yeah, it's like for doing what they're good at. You know, they're good at single player cinematic experiences. Let them make another game.
Bring back Jak and Daxter,
please. Oh my god, I would love for a new edition. Like, do a reboot. Do like Insomniac.
Do the precursor Legacy, but again.
Yeah, you know, I'm fine with that. But yeah, that would be awesome. All right. Again, as expected, we're gonna be going long. We're gonna be going real long. So we've got a few more categories to get through. So let's do it.
Geoff sent my door with a baseball bat.
Next, we got the places that really, you know, need to just take the L. We got our RIP bozos in the chat. What studio do we think?
The loser.
doing the Fortnite.
No, the Fortnite dance.
Yeah. Which studio do we think most deserves to be shut down for their crimes against the gaming community?
As I was like coming up with this category, I was like, it made me feel bad thinking about it in this way. But like, one, you got to laugh at it sometimes. But also it was the realization that there were at least like 4 choices of studios that were just like, yeah, you guys deserve to. What's still always unfortunate is that it's going to hit the workers the hardest. It's you know, the actual executives who've made these terrible decisions and the mismanagement and all that, they're going to be fine. They have all failed upwards. You know, that's
their
the
percentile
reality.
Severance pay is just so much better. You don't understand.
Yeah. But it's like, it's at least sends a message of, again, it's like, stop making these fucking games. Like, Jesus fucking Christ. So you got to see a little bit of a, you know, silver lining to what's been a shitty year.
So I got a semi-topical pick.
I've got 3.
I've got the Day Before Studio. I don't even remember their fucking name.
Because they've got a new name now.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
they just changed face.
Fantastic.
I feel like that one, like that whole weekend debacle was just like such good reading for me. Such a good.
I do feel like they're going to take it there because that one was truly a scam.
Yeah, the others were at least they deserved it because they wanted to.
Yeah, so they were at least trying to make games. You know, where this was a scam from top to bottom. But yeah, any other nominations out there? I do have 3 if anybody needs one.
Well, I was just gonna say all of the studios. So they all deserve to be shut down, because all the big name ones, because they're all just exploiting workers, and the workers should own their own studios and create the content they want. That's my nomination.
An actual physical studio. Andrew, do you have anyone to add?
Ultimately, I want to add Embracer Group just because they're
not even a studio. They're
so
like
mismanaged.
They're like a multinational conglomerate. I'm surprised they don't have like they're like the Wayland Corp of the fucking Alien franchise.
All right, so I've got 3 here that I'll share, and you guys can tell me if you want to add 1, 2, or all 3 to the list. So we've already mentioned
Embracer can go on there. I was just ranting about how much I hate them.
So one of mine is an Embracer studio. But first off, we've already mentioned, the travesty that was Gollum. So Daedalic Entertainment or studio, whatever, Daedalic something.
So I wrote them down and then I deleted it out of the small piece of empathy that still exists in my heart for people who try to do something different and fail and not trying to kick them while they're down for it.
Okay. So these other 2 then are what I feel better about. So the first one is Luminous Productions, the Forspoken people. And I don't feel so bad for them because they just got absorbed. Their shit got closed down, but they just got absorbed by Square.
The studio got shut down, but they just got repurposed into other Square studios.
Yeah, so like I don't feel bad, like, again, poking fun at them because, nothing really bad happened there.
Also, if you're gonna make a game like that, you got to be able to like give and take a little bit of ribbing because the character, like, that's built in.
But the one that's closest to my heart, though, is probably Volition, which is the actual Embracer subsidiary. And basically they get what they fucking deserve for their comments about and all the shit that we've learned about what happened with the decision-making process to reboot Saints Row, learning that a lot of people, a lot of the creative team wanted to just to include the original Saints cast, the characters that we all knew and loved, but they're like, nope, it needs to be a full reboot. We have to make it topical.
Maximum cooled it.
Yeah. And but also that they had like severe disdain for the fan base. They pulled a very Disney type thing that like if you don't like this, you're sexist, rape, you're sexist, you're racist,
That's
whatever.
my favorite argument.
I love it. I love to actually dilute accusations of actual racism and sexism and anti-Semitism
by telling people who don't like
that.
Captain the Marvels that it's because they're bigoted towards Brie Larson.
Yeah. All right. So which of those gets added to the list? You guys tell me. I'll let you guys pick for me.
I like Volition.
And like this is largely
my vote.
This is largely pro forma though, because I do think it should go to Fantastic or whatever. Because fuck them. Like,
Fanforstic?
Yeah.
Yeah. On name alone, they got my vote.
I think the obvious like rug pull scam that was so obvious is funny to me. Like from afar looking in, like all whatever it was, like 90,000 people who bought the game or something like that on Steam or who were like in early access.
Yeah. This is the most wishlisted game on Steam for a long fucking time. It was wild. Absolutely wild. All right.
I've got the next category, and this one is also on the nose because I am all about the workplace efficiency, and that's what this category is named.
Workplace efficiency quotient. Yeah.
Yes. Well, quotient just makes it better because that's a math term, and you now have my attention, sir. If you would step into my parlor for some white cake, we could discuss this further. The most significant staff layoffs. A lot of layoffs this year. A lot of layoffs.
So hard to pick.
Yeah. I went broad with this one because I felt like it was fair enough to say that Embracer Group had the most significant layoffs for me because so many of their subsidiaries within were part of it. And it's kind of one of those things, writing was on the wall after seeing them, buy so many studios so quickly that they were inevitably going to start, collapsing them and reshuffling and, consolidating, as one would say.
Just like no and no thought process of what's going to happen when it costs like 5 times more to borrow money than it does right now.
If only we had
That'll
that
never
If
happen.
only we had that sweet, sweet Saudi cash.
Aish.
Isn't Embracer Saudi?
Yeah.
They're
They're Swedish.
They're Swedish. But they
I
were
thought they had. I
no,
thought they
why
had
this
Saudi
shit
funding.
no, that was
They
the
do.
whole
They have
reason.
some.
That was the reason why all this shit fell through, is
Oh,
that they were
okay.
expecting a
That's
$2
what I
billion.
meant.
They were expecting a $2 billion cash infusion from a Saudi deal that fell through. And it was largely because of people think it's because of Saints Row. People think it's because Saints Row did so poorly. They're like, I think we'll put our money we'll give our money to Tencent instead.
All right, so Embracer is definitely significant for me. I went with significant, not necessarily as volume, but as what it's saying about
Yeah,
the industry. And for me,
that's
that was
neat.
Bungie.
That's a good one.
I thought that them axing a decent amount of their staff
What was it? 15%
on their own volition, not because Sony needed them to. Yeah, I think it was about
I love
15%
that, like,
was
immediate
a
pivot.
pretty telling.
Andrew, did you read into
Yeah.
that story some more to learn why they did that? And it's about like board control. That like
It was about board control. I
yeah,
thought
that
I had
there's
read it was
that there was
primarily financial performance.
we'll say there's a
Yeah,
stipulation. There's
I
no
had read that it
it's
was
all tied
financial
together. It's all
performance.
tied together.
Yeah.
It's that
Their
there was
independence from
there was a
Sony.
stipulation in the buyout that the board would remain independent if they met certain financial goals, and if they didn't, Sony was able to do a takeover and install their own board.
Yeah.
And basically, they're like, yeah, okay, we're not meeting these goals. We're going to axe everybody. You know, they're literally doing the workplace efficiency quotient. You know, we've done this math that, you know, if we axe this number of jobs, this number of benefits, these, you know, long-standing, employees who've made our identity, we will just be able to hit this target and retain our independence. So yeah, that is like
So in a way, Sony's fault, but
kind of, but no, it's part of the deal. You know, it's part of the deal that it's Bungie's it's mismanagement on Bungie.
You put that stipulation in the deal because you have the foresight to think about a live service studio might not always make this much money and might need saving itself, which Bungie starts to look
and I think
more and more like they need
one
to
of
be
the things
saved
that
from
was so
themselves.
wild.
Like what was it?
One of the things that was surprising,
Dawnbreak, whatever the new expansion they showed off. Lowest, like highest amount of dislikes on a YouTube video for them.
Yeah, no,
the Final Dawn, is that what it's called or something like that? Yeah, I don't know.
But that's the last Destiny 2 expansion. The other thing that was really wild in that, yeah, exactly. In that cutting, they cut their like acclaimed historical composer, which
people who made the identity of Bungie, like who did the fucking Halo soundtracks, you know, who did the Halo scores, you know, iconic shit here. Yeah. You saw that. Mine combined. It's like, you know, it was a similar tangent to, they did that at BioWare too. They got rid of like the main like
there's
writers.
No one at BioWare left.
Yeah, so the people at BioWare who made all
Ship of Theseus,
the majority of you know, like their major successes gone. But that is actually not my pick. Mine is the subsidiary. Mine was the Keywords QA team, and it did it for the similar reason that you did, Andrew, about what it says about the industry and what it says about you know, labor rights in this country, even though technically that's in Canada. But just like the labor movement in North America. That this group of QA workers, like the first unionized studio in Canada, that gets fucking axed right in the middle of contract negotiations. You know, clearly this is, you know, retaliation. And you know, they were able to skirt that because, although I think labor complaints have been filed and that's probably ongoing, but like It's just like really shitty to see that like you can have these huge successes with successfully forming a union, dealing with all the tensions and the implicit threats that go along with that type of organizing, to then just get fucking, here's the door, sorry, you're all contract workers, so we can get away with this. And so that's for me. And was one of the previous category was trying to find the silver lining. This is the meat of the what's been the sinister underbelly of this year in the industry, and this was a good exemplar of that for me. Mike, do you have one for us?
I don't have anything to add to those.
All right, so voting.
I'm voting for the QA testers, just because I do think that's an even better statement on the broader labor issues happening in the industry and broader economic environment. But that's definitely my vote.
Yeah, I'm gonna vote keywords too. I think it's it's a small studio. Embracer takes the cake in terms of volume, as you said, and it is you can't downplay the significance of that. A lot of people have lost their jobs throughout, Embracer's catalog.
I thought I was taking crazy pills because there was like a 2-week stretch where like every other day I woke up and it was a different Embracer studio was laying people off, and I was doing the like, wait, I thought Embracer had already laid everyone off.
I thought they did that already. What the fuck?
They literally did some yesterday.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
My vote, I performatively give it to Bungie. Just because I think
they need a vote. The Bungie is in a sorry state.
Yeah.
You also
like right
got
now,
my vote.
Bungie has Marathon on the horizon, that like extraction shooter thing.
Fuck me, yeah. So, Mike, did you say you're giving it to Bungie? Does that means Embracer Group is going to win? Fuck. All right, fair enough. All right.
I mean, no one actually wins this category.
No, you're all losers in our mind. We're all losers. In jokes aside, we are all, worse off because of this.
Mm-hmm.
Even for games like, Destiny that I don't fucking care about. It's still bad.
Yep.
All right. Final real category of the night, and then we get to our end game.
So before we get to any of the nominations, we have the category. It is called Monopoly the Game, and I have a little statement to read to go along with my
you forgot to use the exclamation points. Monopoly the game.
Monopoly the game, which really should just be called Life. Life the game instead of Life,
which is also a board game.
Also a board game.
Nintendo's swooping in, buying all the big name game studios and console creators to create the video game super conglomerate to rival all the American oil oligarchs in money and capital funds. It is installs its mustachioed men in political positions across the globe. They run Luigi as a Green Party candidate in America and self-fund the campaign. He wins. He promises Americans all a 4K Switch 2 on launch, which is Inauguration Day. The only way to unlock it, though, is to purchase the live stream of the inauguration on that Switch device. And then after you've watched the full inauguration and had your brain absorbed into Nintendo, which is America is now called Nintendo, you could use your Switch. There is now government mandated PlayStation, Xbox trade-ins at your local GameStop. It starts on January 22nd, 2025. GameStop to the moon, because they get a fee, a $3 transaction fee for each console that they take in, funded by Nintendo. Vice President,
have you or someone you know been affected by lack of ADHD medication in your area?
No, I did this on the train on the way home last night.
It doesn't help.
Vice President Mario
You're being a trained
summarily
person now.
executes Mickey Mouse
Hell yeah.
live on the Switch 2.
He's got my vote.
This is the final assault on America. Its last hero dead. Nintendo reigns. Nintendo installs Princess Peach as the head of the UN. Its army grows. Under her leadership and Nintendo's military
He's girl
donations,
bossing.
the UN's new standing army becomes the international extrajudicial forces of Nintendo. Kamek, Nintendo's head of research and development, while working on repairs to the Disney World lab that was destroyed in the Great Nintendo Wars, he discovers Walt, yes, he was still alive, plans for the actual Death Star. 5 years later, it's built. Nintendo has left Earth. It's just its base of operations, and they wander the galaxies in search of worlds to colonize under its new awesome reign. Nintendo is my vote.
Just going on a purchasing spree.
I love it.
It's gonna become our new overlords. They're the only ones that could do it.
So I just found out that Mike has been going to the fan fiction sites, cutting up, writing tips.
I was just vibing on some meds on the train ride home and a couple Diet Cokes.
Mike thought he was doing this internally on the train, but he was like yelling at random passersby. Luigi will be president. Peach is the president of the UN. America.
Yeah, but the secret
no one can
is
see the
I do
future.
that so no one sits next to me.
Yeah, that's the 5-head move.
Yeah. Galaxy brain.
All right, so mine, I've got one that like started off as a bit, but is even more topical now because of news that has emerged within this last week. My most anticipated industry consolidation is a Google hostile takeover of Epic so that Epic stops suing them.
Nice. Genius. What is the news? I missed it.
Okay.
Epic won the latest lawsuit
because then it would be like every other Google project and it would be shut down in 2 years.
But it's not because of profit, because we know nobody likes the Epic Game Store. Unreal Engine is the only thing that's profitable there.
Games for Christmas. Come on.
But no, it's purely so that they stop suing them.
Smart.
Their litigation costs are less than just buying it.
Or more. The litigation costs are more than
more.
It, you mean?
That's what I meant. That's what I meant.
Just stop.
All right,
just stop suing us.
So mine is probably not realistic, but I also thought this would be funny in a sinister way, and that is Sony and Take-Two combine to take on what is now Microsoft Activision. But there's not been really talk of that. If you want to go with things that seem somewhat realistic, Disney EA would be my other potential consolidation.
See, this is a tough one for me, because the one that always stands out to me is the always present idea of the Sony Square Enix merger that's been floated around for a little bit because of Sony's relationship with them. And the only reason I continuously give that pause is because Square has a great relationship with Nintendo as well. And I don't know if they'd be willing to drop that relationship because, like, Dragon Quest is a Nintendo property. Like, would they be it'd be weird.
Square is just too focused and would be too focused on Japan, and Nintendo runs Japan,
Yeah.
Dragon Quest is like one of the highest selling games in Japan ever.
What was here's a fun one for you. Dragon Quest the Dark Prince, Dragon Quest Monsters the Dark Prince, sold out everywhere in Japan physically, and they were having like trouble like maintaining like the digital store integrity because of how many people were downloading the digital
There's
copy.
an unwritten law in Japan that they're not allowed to release a Dragon Quest game on a weekday. Weekday, because it almost like crashed the markets because everybody didn't go to work.
It's down their economy.
Yeah, because nobody went to work the last time they did that. It's insane. So yeah, like I think that is a reasonable assumption, is that like Square they prize their other relationships, even though Sony is kind of their primary partner. Was that still your pick, even with that caveat?
No, it isn't.
All right. Then what do you got?
My pick is a much darker turn.
Oh no. Oh no.
And my pick is Microsoft X Take-Two.
Oh wow. It's gonna be a battle.
Because they're never satisfied. The eternal money machine that is Microsoft can never be can never have its hunger quelled, and always has more dollary dues to spend on buying up another notable third party studio and making them exclusive.
It's just the question is, do they have? I mean, if anybody has the money to take Two, it's Microsoft.
Yeah.
I don't know that Sony has the money to do it.
Theoretically, they do, but it would tap them pretty much.
Yeah, which so I don't think that
exactly.
I don't think
it would have to be it would have to be some sort of merger for it to be Sony.
You know, maybe if they just have a man on the inside slowly buying up properties around them until he's raised up enough money to be able to buy out the rest of them. Maybe he, runs a small real estate agency, goes by president.
Does anybody touch the radioactivity that is Embracer Group? Does anybody see them as like a wounded animal, ready to strike?
I mean, Tencent's always sitting there like, ooh,
Yeah.
woo, ready for consolidation.
Yeah. That would make sense to me. I mean, they're on the same level, basically.
Yeah.
So, and they definitely have the money to do it. All right, votes. As much as I want to vote for my own of the Google hostile takeover of Epic, in terms of most likely, it's got to go to Microsoft again. They've got the means, they've got the drive. It's about drive.
And they've already been given the green light to say they can buy more shit.
Yeah. Like I don't like Take Two, I think, would be the only it's the only what's the word I'm looking for? It's the only thing potentially bigger than Activision. Say Call of Duty as a franchise and the mobile shit that brings in, the billions of dollars that Grand Theft Auto represents. Is potentially the only other thing.
There is always the
an
dark
escalation
horse in that. There is one dark horse candidate in that situation of Apple. Like Apple could swoop in there if they ever wanted to get truly serious.
It is gonna. I mean, I do think that's likely. It's going to be one of these other companies too. It's going to be Google. It's going to be Disney. It's going to be Apple.
Yeah, moving into the space.
Because I was just thinking Apple's one of the few companies who would have the actual like tangible revenue to be able to just slap down cash on a table and be like, here, you can
your mind.
I think Disney is another one that
but Disney's looking at EA with the fucking anime eyes, and that's just weird because like
they want to pump out the
EA's
Star
catalog
Wars
over the last decade.
And they basically already own
for me.
They basically already own them anyways, so that one's not a big deal. I'm still going of the ones we've nominated because now we're getting into but what are these other ones? We should have done a better job making our nominations if that's the case. So with what we have down here, I'm going Microsoft. Who's with me?
I am
Microsoft. All right, Microsoft sweeps it. Okay.
First award.
Folks, we've gone quite a long time. This has been
I'm fucking starving.
This has been very fun. Our final thing that we will leave you with is like going to be our personal game of the years. We're not going to vote on this one. We're just going to offer what was the favorite game that you played this year, and this can be old game, new game. What was the best gaming experience you had in 2023? Ending it on a positive note.
This selection was the hardest thing I've done in my entire life. I graduated engineering school, top of my class.
God's bravest soldier.
This surpasses any Calc 3, any Calc 2, any differential equations. I was sitting here looking at a four game bracket of Yakuza 0, Tears of the Kingdom, Final Fantasy 16, and Armored Core 6, feeling a truly like scorned lover, sitting there like trying to like truly analyze which one made me the happiest this year.
Mm-hmm.
Which game made me feel the most joy, Marie Kondo style.
Yeah.
Does this bring me joy? And the first game I picked up was Tears of the Kingdom. And it's one where it's obvious for me to say that this game is a sequel. So I can't, I go into it knowing I'm going to love it and enjoy it and treat it that way. So I take it off my list because it doesn't need the nomination. It's already got a spot in my heart that way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I then walk over to Armored Core 6 and I pick it up.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're going. We're going.
What's it, Mike's gonna piss himself?
I pick up Armored Core 6 and I look at it and I go, does it bring me joy? Yes, of course it does. It's mechs blowing shit up all the time. And I'm all here for it.
Guys will look at this, look at a 10-story tall mech and say, hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
But I put it to the side and said it's not fair for me to continuously give From Software Game of the Year every time they release a game. Because it gets old. And then I'm looking at Final Fantasy 16 and Yakuza 0. 2 games that make me feel 2 different ways and 2 different variations. One that made me watch porn and collect porn star calling cards.
Yes.
And one that made me feel the true first tier in a video game in a long time. So for me, my pick, after, pulling this out, dragging out this bit as long as I could, I'm giving it to Final Fantasy 16. I think it deserved my call for it. Yakuza 0 came really close, but I'm not finished with it, so I can't give it to it.
A bit of a bummer to me that you didn't pick Yakuza 0 because I wanted to put that as one of my main options. But
I'm gonna jump in then and make you happy because I picked Yakuza 0 because of like I obviously never finished games, and didn't finish that one completely. My other option was possibly Elden Ring, but I was like, no, I had a lot more fun with Yakuza because I didn't want to throw the controller because of Melania.
Good. I'm glad to see it get there at some point because that was probably like, again, going from Matt's perspective of like what like game brought me the most joy this year is probably that one. Like it brought some of the most emotion out of me. But the game that like truly just kind of defines my year, I don't think it's going to be a surprise to anybody, and it's not original and none of that, but it's just Baldur's Gate 3 was just met and surpassed any expectation I possibly could have had. It was such a good time. Not a single hour felt like it wasn't, so I wasn't finding something new or finding something that didn't make me laugh, didn't surprise me that they were able to do that, or make me point at the screen like Leo. It was just a triumph from start to finish. People who said that Act 3 was bad can fucking eat my farts. I think you're an idiot. I thought Act 3 was fine, and it also ran fine for me. I don't know. People are like, Act 3 was broken. Fuck your talk.
I think everyone who disagrees with me is a pig dog.
Yeah. I thought it was incredible. I thought I could not, give it enough laurels. I loved that game and every minute I spent in it.
So for me, it came down to 2 games. One was Final Fantasy 16. So Matt, I'm glad you threw that one out there because that is unfortunately my runner-up. So I ultimately am going to go with Resident Evil 4 because not only was it the game that demanded my attention most, I just kept wanting to go back and play it any free time I had, but it's also been a kind of holy grail game for myself. When it came out originally, I wasn't going to get it because it was a mature game. My parents weren't buying it. I played it at a friend's house, was like, this is awesome. never had the chance. I don't like playing old games. I'm a picky little bitch when it comes to that, I will admit. So to fully get a remake in just all of its glory, it was beautiful. It was fun to play. The story is enjoyable. It's just all around hits the high points of what I enjoy about gaming. And it also had that nostalgia hit. So for me, it's Resident Evil.
Right. Fairly solid lineup there. All games that I think are deserving.
Yeah,
And
if you sat down and could only play 4 games a year, and your 4 games were Yakuza 0, Baldur's Gate 3, Final Fantasy 16, and Resident Evil 4, I feel like you'd be a pretty happy person.
yeah, I agree. All right, so we won't keep you any longer, folks. We love you very much. We wish you a happy holiday, happy new year. We will be back sometime in January with we'll be starting the process all over, but hopefully with some new content to bring you. No promises yet on timelines, but
It's actually going to be the exact same episodes as this year, just replayed.
Yeah, we are looking forward to the future in the new year, and we thank you for joining us in this tumultuous year in gaming. We'll leave it at that. To all those
exposing himself to us.
To all those who made these games for all of our enjoyment, we say thank you.
Shout out to my reformed rabbi, Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
All right. We will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.